One of the things I love about Total War Warhammer is that sometimes you look at a matchup on paper and think that a faction might have a significant advantage, but specific interactions might actually flip that into an unexpected result. Certainly, Slaanesh being the definition of a glass cannon up against what has historically been the best attrition faction in the vampire counts, with some attrition-based tools specifically in this particular build. Looks like it might potentially be very, very tough for the forces of Slaanesh here, considering they are melee only, and, you know, based roughly, more or less, on Warriors of Chaos, right, who historically have very much struggled against something like this, although these days might be a little bit easier, but still, let's talk about those specific interactions I'm talking about. Mainly the fact that Slaanesh units have decent stats, especially the demons, despite the lack of armor. 44 melee defense and incredibly high offensive stats and speed means that they'll take surprisingly little damage in melee from just regular undead troops, and then be able to get good engagements and get high damage against them to crumble them away quickly. Also, the Keeper of Secrets self-heal is very good against undead in general. Unfortunately, the other two undead factions can shoot this poor bloke to death, but yeah, he's got, of course, the Feasting on Fear, which regenerates HP for units which are crumbling or just wavering leadership nearby, so it doesn't even necessarily have to be crumbling. But certainly against vampire counts who have plenty of large meatbag units with low leadership who might stand around and crumble for quite some time, you can actually get a lot of HP from this Feasting on Fear potentially in this matchup. Of course, also got its own quote-unquote mortis effect, right? Again, if leadership is wavering or lower, they'll take even more damage to help speed that crumbling along. For the rest of the build here, we've got some Devoted Marauder Spears up front, the 3 Exalted Demonettes, including the Regiment of Renown here. Going to be very important also to try and get that Enrage to prevent units from getting good engagements. A Hellflayer Chariot is an interesting one. They're the more elite Chariot variant, and potentially have some very good damage. Well, a decent amount of HP. Physical resistance as well will help them potentially protect against Blood Knights, plus that fast speed allows them to kind of pick and choose their engagements. Speaking of which, there are some Blood Knights here, and some more over here, and we've also got some Crypt Horrors, Mortis Engine, and Unholy Lodestone Corpse Cart. Looks like the Tide Zombies, plus more zombies, and Skeleton Spears. Manfred von Carstein up in the air, and let's get things going. So the Blood Knights are going to charge through. They'll charge past the Hellflayers straight into those Marauder Horsemen, of which there are 4, of course, skirmishing and just doing, Marauder Horsemen things. Meanwhile, the Hellflayers are gonna get unleashed, and I just wanted to watch this for a minute because I thought this was hilarious. This unit model is wide enough that it can actually kill, like, the entire unit, or at least impact the entire unit. I don't know if it'll actually kill them, but yeah, some pretty serious damage and disruption initially from the Hellflayers as they kind of charge on through. The Spears are going to take the charge to a degree, which is totally fine for Slaanesh. You know, they'll be fine, and then the Exalted Demonettes can kind of countercharge in here, but Slaanesh is very much outnumbered here. Yeah, significantly outnumbered, so definitely going to have to start to turn things in their favor pretty quickly and start to break those undead units, those vampire counts units, which is certainly easier said than done. But I'm curious to see with this chariot here, the Hellflayer Chariot. I've been seeing people take more of the demonic chariots recently, both the Hellflayer and the regular Seeker Chariot. I've been seeing it a lot more recently. I don't know, I guess people have kind of realized how effective they can be if they're used correctly, but definitely can be quite vulnerable. Here they're used as a pretty masterful bait to catch the Blood Knights out. The Keeper of Secrets can charge the Blood Knights directly without getting charged. Use a little bit of magic there. The Marauder Horsemen pull up to throw some javelins. They're going to absolutely completely overkill one model, like, ludicrously hard, but then, of course, follow up with some more jabs. Little summon zombie there to distract the Keeper of Secrets is just really going to feed his HP, and that's one thing in this matchup, that if you can get the Keeper of Secrets, if you can kind of bait your opponent into trying to cast a lot of things to bog them down, it's definitely going to work in your favor. One thing working in the Vampire Count's favor, though, right now is this Mortis Engine's just getting a nice drain on a couple of Exalted Demonettes, which is, relatively low HP unit, relatively elite unit to be just taking that constant drain damage. It will take a while to kill them. The actual undead troops aren't going to be getting a lot of hits against the Demonettes due to their stats, as I mentioned, but still, nice Euphoric here, Charmed, all the different effects kind of stacking to lead this Blood Knight to their ruin. They're going to statically charge on in, just completely out of control, lost in the Slaaneshi frenzy. I don't know, I guess Yeah, would it be actually that hard to, like, mess with Blood Knights from Slaanesh's perspective, like psychological warfare? You could probably just, like, I don't know, give off the scent of blood, and that would probably mess with their mind a little bit. I don't know, you lore heads will have to let me know, but a lot of people, I've seen some memes and jokes about, like, how does Slaanesh seduce the undead? With the actual vampires themselves, it has to be something to do with blood, right? Like, they've got to just be dangling a nice chalice of warm, gooey goodness right in front of them, right? I would think. Anyway, all that lore aside, we see the Mortis engine wheeling up and around to try and get in this blob once again. It is quite the blob for Slaanesh here. The chariot's starting to run out of steam a little bit, but how much damage has it actually done? Not much. Okay. Was the distraction factor worth it? Hard to say, but regardless, the Slaanesh has been able to blend through a decent amount of the chaff here. You know, the Demonette's obviously high damage, able to just collapse units very quickly, even faster than the passive healing sources can sustain them. Quite nice there, but it's more zombie summons as the Marauder Horsemen wheel around trying to avoid Manfred. Oof, that Enrage though, that Seductive Glory being used to also debuff the melee defense down to 0 of the Mortis engine, so it's taking maximum number of hits here. It does look like it's going to try and pull away. I don't know what the Enrage is really doing right now, but it looks like Fascination also going to be used, so I believe it's Lenorm who is the one of the two players here. Regardless, the Slaanesh player is actually doing a great job of layering those rampage effects one after the other on the Mortis engine, so it can't try to get away. A little bit of Spirit Leech there on the Keeper of Secrets, but if I just hover over and you look at the HP bar of the Keeper of Secrets there, you can see it's ticking up pretty consistently, and if I highlight actually, yeah, I mean, it's getting anywhere from 0.2 to 0.16 per second, you know, depending on how many units are actually crumbling nearby, and I think that actually, that condition doesn't say enemy, so, oh no, and each enemy unit, okay, so it actually does, so that Demonette there that just suffered instability was not actually healing, it's Lord, which is fine, honestly, but like, even the Mortis engine as it is right now, and the Crypt Horrors just feeding more HP to the Exalted Keeper of Secrets that whole time. Balance power has been kind of fraudulently against Slaanesh, I feel, especially now, I guess because Manfred's so healthy, but with the Mortis engine getting exploded, now the poor Corpse Cart, it's just in for a bad time as it gets slowly torn apart by giant crab claw things. Manfred's gonna once again Spirit Leech, pull up in the sky, try and get a nice breath attack on the big blob. All's well and good with that. He is gonna get some nice damage on one of those Exalted Demonettes and try and drop on this Keeper of Secrets. Maybe get another zombie summon, but again, that zombie summon, honestly, if it's arguably gonna do more harm than anything, as it just heals the Keeper of Secrets now, as it fights against Manfred in melee. We're going to see all these other troops charging in. Obviously, the Slaanesh Horsemen do have devastating flanker, so even though they're not the best, you know, combat troops per se, they can actually get a charge in here and maybe get a little bit of that benefit to do a little bit of extra damage on Manfred. We also see the Fascination being used there once again to great effect, trying to enrage Manfred. Let's see if he's going to be able to actually get up in the air for another cycle charge while the zombie's alive. Zombie is healing Keeper of Secrets, though, as mentioned, so Manfred's just going to go after this weakened unit out on the side here, as well he should. But let's see, will the Keeper actually be able to catch him on the ground? Keeper also has devastating flanker, obviously. Nope, looks like Manfred's going to get up in the air. Another cheeky Spirit Leech there. But things are looking quite grim for Manfred, as the zombie summon is gone. I don't think he has any more zombie summons. Oh no, he does still have. It says uses 5. I don't think that's actually correct. I don't know. But regardless, Manfred, it's going to drop down, do some solid damage to the Keeper of Secrets, but with all this support, some of Manfred's attacks kind of get distracted into the wrong targets, and that big old clawed monster there with its spear and its pincers and its appendages, all the appendages, able to poke and prod Manfred. Oh, we do have one more rogue zombie summon, so let's fast forward a little bit as this process gets repeated. Keeper Secrets continuing to get healed, that trickle of HP, and Manfred just dying. So really, it's all coming up aces in the end there, at least for Slaanesh. And okay, so Lenorm was actually the vampire Counts player here. It was anti-kaiju playing Slaanesh, and I have to say, you know, the build, it's a lot of risk, but high reward, which I definitely enjoy. The Hellflayer is an interesting choice. I'm still, like, I've been seeing people taking the Slaanesh chariots. I don't know, they seem effective on paper, but then, and like, eye test in the battle, they look okay, but then I look at their value and I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know, this doesn't seem quite right to me. But, I don't know, maybe the disruption was worth it. The Demonettes were able to get some really good value as a result, especially 2204 on just a regular Exalted Demonette's fantastic. Keeper of Secrets carries a huge amount of value. That Mortis Train also, again, that was helping to kind of speed through those crumbling units, get them off the field even faster. So, quite effective there. Martyr Horsemen also did a great job. Were able to stay safe, mostly from the Blood Knights, as they were trying to respond to other threats. The Mortis Engine is going to get insane value here, as does Manfred, but the rest of the build, I mean, largely struggles. Zombies, hard to not be cost-effective. They do what they do. Some of the Skeleton Spears as well, but yeah, the Blood Knights, surprisingly enough, were not it against this build. I was kind of shocked at how well, given the anti-kaiju, like, on paper doesn't have any direct, like, anti-Blood Knight tools, was just able to use what he had, and lots of Slaanesh effects, making the Blood Knights go out of control and just bursting them down with the Exalted Demonettes, which is quite effective. Proved to be quite effective, definitely. So, fun one for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.